What's up, everybody? So today's video is just going to be a quick little vlog. Just wanted to let you guys know what's been going on here over the past day and a half. This is little Yoshi, and you may notice that he is in my house at the moment instead of the bunny barn. So in a nutshell, Yoshi had GI stasis. The typical treatments that I normally administer were not being effective. So the course of events went like this. His appetite just was not as hearty as it normally would have been. And so the next thing I did was examine his poo balls. And I noticed the ones in his litter box were just a little bit dehydrated, and then I saw some other ones in his enclosure that were even smaller. And so I knew it wasn't looking good, but he still was moving around and acting pretty normally. So I gave him lots of hay, and then, Yoshi, what are you doing? You're so crazy. I made such a mess feeding him the recovery food. It is all over his chin. So that's why it looks like he's headbanging. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just trying to clean himself. But anyhow, so I checked on him last night. I was looking at the camera and I could see he just couldn't get comfortable. He was moving from position to position in his enclosure, and he would sprawl out like he was trying to press his stomach down on the floor. And that's another red flag that there's discomfort. So I went out and I gave him some Sherwood Appetite Restore. And then I did dose him with about 0.7 milliliters of Metacam. And I could feel on one side of his stomach, it almost felt like a hard, elongated series of poo balls, and that probably is what it was. So I continued hydrating, tummy massages, and I couldn't give him another dose of Metacam for 24 hours. But that usually jumpstarts them. It usually takes a couple hours for the Metacam to do its thing. I sat with Yoshi until midnight, and I put a heater on him because keeping them warm when they're in stasis is especially important. So we had his heater, he had fluids, he had the Metacam, which is a pain reliever and anti-inflammatory. He had his hay, and I put him in the exercise pen. I think he's eating his Secotropes right now, which is a good thing. But then I left him about midnight, and I checked on him about 6 a.m. And much to my dismay, he really hadn't moved. He was still sprawled out in front of the heater, and I saw no poo balls. He had not eaten his hay. I didn't see him drinking any water, and there's some poo balls. So those are some of the first poops. I couldn't get him into the vet today until like 2:30 this afternoon. But the doctor confirmed that, yes, it was good. I gave him Metacam, and he suggested feeding either Oxbow's Critical Care or something similar. And I used the Sherwood version, which is their recovery food. And it's basically a powdered food, and you add water to it. And I don't like to feed that unless I know there's no blockage. But my vet really thought that it was essential that I get some food in him, and he didn't feel it was a blockage based on the description that I gave him. So I started giving Yoshi his powdered recovery food mixed with water, and he didn't like it. And I would give him more tummy massages and some fluids. And he would hop around a little bit, which is a good thing. You know, you want to get them exercising. But as soon as I would stop encouraging him to move, he would just kind of lay down like a meatloaf or sprawled out, and I could tell he was still really uncomfortable. So we finally got to the veterinarian. That was the longest day ever, and they gave him subcutaneous fluids, which is fluid injected under the skin. And I'm way too nervous to try that myself. I know I need to learn how to do that, but when you have a rabbit who is wiggling and you have a needle going into it, it's just extremely stressful for everyone involved, and I would just rather someone administer that who is very well experienced in that. So that's what they did, and the doctor examined him and really felt that it was stasis. He he could palpate the gas bubbles in Yoshi's intestines and knew that it was gas pain and bad bacteria building up, making him not want to eat, and just a very vicious cycle. So thankfully, the fluid really helped with the dehydration. He wasn't overly dehydrated because I had been giving him fluids. So he's definitely perked up. It took maybe a couple hours. We got him home. He started cleaning himself. I fed him again. And then we had the glorious poo balls. He started pooping, and only a bunny owner who's had issues with stasis could understand how much joy you could feel when you see your bunny poop. And that's how I felt. And he started pooping and running around the house and was showing an interest in things like cleaning himself, like you see now. And he has been feverishly trying to clean off all of that extra food and bathing himself. And I'm glad to see him eating his secretropes. Although you didn't eat all your secretropes, buddy. You got a few more down there. Now, the veterinarian suggested what I have typically recommended, and that is a diet of hay, at least for the next few days. And he suggested keeping Yoshi off of pellets for probably the next week, just so the good bacteria and bad bacteria balance out, and the good bacteria can overtake that bad bacteria, so that there is harmony in his intestines once again, and that's what we want. So he's going to be on a mostly hay diet, and I'm going to give him some dark leafy greens too. He hasn't had many greens because he's only 5 months old, but I'm going to give him some kale, some dark leafy greens I can find. I don't have any dandelions available now. Dandelions would be a good choice, but we do have some parsley out in the garden as well. So I'll be giving him that, and hay, and plenty of water. But until I see him eating on his own, I'm going to be continuing the recovery food, at least today and possibly tomorrow, depending on how the poo balls are. And he's got a fan. Paisley is very interested in him. Those of you who are fans of the channel probably know what she's interested in. And this is it. And that's why it's in the middle of Yoshi's exercise pen here. I don't know, Yoshi, are you worth the $144 vet bill? Yes, he is. He's a good boy. He was such a good boy at the vet too. They really liked him. So anyhow, I just thought I would share a quick little update here. I am working on another video. I've been working on it for over a week. It's quite a long, lengthy, instructional, educational video. I guess that's the word to say. So I'm in the midst of that, but just wanted to let you know what's going on, and in case this might help you if you have a rabbit go through a similar situation. Like my vet said, you did the right thing. Metacam, if you can get that prescription from your vet, I highly recommend it. Talk with your vet, get that pain reliever for emergencies until you can see your vet. Have a powdered food such as Sherwood's Recovery Food or Oxbow's Critical Care that you can mix with water and syringe feed. Sherwood's Appetite Restore, which has B vitamins, and it's kind of like a bunny electrolyte mix. You can mix that with water, and that helps with hydration. A lot of people use infant gas drops. So all of that can help your bunny make it until you can see the vet. And you might not even need to see the vet. A lot of times, a couple hours after the Metacam and fluids, your bunny will perk up. But if not, getting those subcutaneous fluids, that can be a lifesaver, as in Yoshi's case. So I'm very grateful that it looks like we have an optimistic outcome. And I have other videos about stasis. I will link those below, and I have information on my website as well if you would like to learn more and about some suggested products to keep on hand. Thanks so much for watching.